All right. All right. Sorry I'm late. You know, I like to post these earlier in the day. I got fucked up at work. But anyway, we're here. My name is Mr. Fight Companion. You know what we do on this channel every Friday. We go through the entire card. I missed Friday, so we're doing it Saturday. We go through the entire card. I'm going to give you guys my predictions for UFC 310. It's in like another hour. It's another hour before the early prelim starts, so I'll give you I'll just give you my rundown of who I think is going to win every fight, how I think every fight's going to go. Let's get right into it. I go from the early prelims to the main event itself. So let's start with Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Lucas Brzezinski. I'm going to butcher these names again, but I really try. I got Kennedy winning this fight. Lucas Brzezinski, he's a can, not really good. In any aspect, he doesn't really look special. So I think Kennedy is going to win this fight in the first round. First round TKO I got for Kennedy. So yeah, quick, simple for that first early prelim fight. Next fight, Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. Clay Guida's been in the UFC since Jesus was alive. So I think Chase Hooper's going to win this one. I got Chase Hooper via submission. I'll say in the first round. I think things get crazy. Clay is probably going to get something going, but like I said, he's too old to really to really be an absolute threat to Chase. So I think Chase switches for a submission, gets the fight to the ground, and gets it done in the first round. Next fight, Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. Michael Chiesa coming off of that victory against Tony Ferguson. There may have been a fight after that. I don't really remember, but he fought Tony, and he made Tony made him look like I don't know, John Jones in there. But yeah, Michael Chiesa, not really good overall mid fighter, but his ground game is good, and he's fighting Max Griffin. Max Griffin, kind of a mid fighter too, so I would consider this fight to be the battle of the mid. But when you got two mid fighters going at it, the fight might actually be entertaining. So I think Max Griffin looks to be the favorite in this fight, but regardless of that, I'm gonna go with Michael Chiesa. I think Michael Chiesa pulls out a what the fuck victory over Max Griffin. I'm gonna say a third round submission. I think somehow this fight goes to the ground and Michael Chiesa finds his way to a successful submission attempt against Max Griffin in the third round. Next fight, Cody Durden, Joshua Van. Joshua Van saw him fight recently against Edgar Chairez. He looked really good. He was an absolute war dog in that fight, never faltered, and then pushed through to get the decision victory. So he's a really tough fighter. He's fighting Cody Durden. Cody Durden, decent ground game, okay striking. And that's what I really see when I look at his fights. And when these two go at it today, I think Joshua Van pulls out the win. I'm gonna say second round TKO. I think Joshua Van absolutely overwhelms Cody Durden in the second round, and just wins it in the second. Next up, Chris Weidman, Eric Anders. This is a fight I've been talking about for months. Chris Weidman, he came off of the 1-2 IPOC victory in his last fight. He's fighting Eric Anders. Eric Anders, not the quickest and cleanest striker, but I think he's got a ton of power in his hands. So I think Eric Anders finds a home for his right or left hand on the chin of Chris Weidman at some point in this fight. I think it's going to be the second round in which Eric Anders KOs Chris Weidman. If Chris Weidman is not able to eye poke Eric Anders to death. So we'll see what actually happens, but I think Eric Anders takes this one. Next up, Randy Brown, Brian Battle. Brian Battle, he looked a little weird in the UFC embedded tapes leading up to this fight, but I'm gonna still trust in him that he pulls out the victory. Randy Brown is no joke. Good fighter, really good striking. The ground game needs work, but it's there. Brian Battle, war dog, makes guys quit in there. Good power, good striking, decent ground game. I think these two go to war, and I think Brian Battle pulls out the win via judge's decision. I think this fight goes the full 3. It's a big back and forth. It may go to the ground, it may not. I think if there's a ground game involved, it might just be in the clinch. But I think Bryan Battle will pull out the win just based off of damage and maybe even output, but most likely damage. Next, Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. Movsar Evloev, Russian fighter, great grappling, kind of semi-boring, but, you know, he's okay. I think the motherfucker's undefeated, right? Yeah. Yeah, undefeated guy. Like I said, great grappling, you know, typical, kind of a typical Russian, or a typical, like, Khabib type Russian. But he's fighting Aljamain Sterling. Evloev's been in the conversation for a title shot because he's undefeated. But he's fighting Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain, former bantamweight champ. Some may consider him to be bantamweight GOAT, although that's not a popular opinion. But he's here in featherweight, and he's trying to make a name for himself at featherweight. He's got great grappling. So does Evloev. I think this is going to be a highly competitive grappling match. In the striking, I think Evloev may seem to have a leg up just because of, you know, his striking is really good, or pretty good, not really good, but it's there, and it's pretty technical. Aljamain is a bit more awkward with his striking, so I think Aljamain may oddly find more success than Evloev on the feet, but I think this fight won't be on the feet for long. I think it'll go right to the ground. Doesn't matter whether Evloev shoots takedowns or Aljamain. I think one of them is going to shoot a fucking takedown or just spam takedowns to try to get this fight to the ground. And it'll be really competitive on the ground. But I think Aljamain's back-taking skills are going to prove very successful and very useful. And I think Aljamain wins by decision, probably via ground control. Whenever this fight goes to the ground, I think Aljamain will find a way to dominate and just edge out a unanimous decision or split decision. I'll say Aljamain edges out a split decision win over Movsar Evloev after those 3 very entertaining grappling rounds. Next up, Vincent Luque, Themba Gorimbo. Themba Gorimbo, rising star from Africa, had this heartwarming story with involving The Rock and Colby Covington and everything. But he's a great striker, very rangy guy. He's fighting Vincent Luque. Vincent Luque, UFC veteran. Not looking very good as of late. His loss to Joaquin Buckley was quite humiliating because it was just really weird. Joaquin kind of just laid on him and then just kept throwing fucking punches. Vincent Luque never returned and just kind of let himself get defeated there. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot which version of Vincent Luque comes out tonight. I'm gonna bet that it's the lesser version, the one that fought Joaquin Buckley. So I think Themba takes Vincent out in the first round. Although it's sad for the Vincent Luque fans, Themba's a rising star. He's very rangy and quite powerful to boot. So I think Themba gets it done in 1. So, yeah, next fight. Dominick Reyes, Anthony Smith. Dominick Reyes, you know, he's been in the UFC a while. He had a really good run up until he fought the UFC GOAT, Jon Jones. Had a very controversial fight that went to a decision. The judges gave it to Jones. A lot of people would have given it to Dominick. But, you know, it's up to the viewer's opinion, I guess. But that night, the judges chose Jones. After that, it was all fucking downhill for Dominick Reyes. Dominick Reyes getting knocked out like 3 times in a row. But he's back. He just got another win, and now he's fighting Anthony Smith. I think this fight will be a little bit boring because I think Dominick will try to make it entertaining by trying to push the pace and pressure Anthony Smith, but Anthony Smith is kind of fucking not all there in the head, so he might try to just kind of do some weird kickboxing shit. I still have Dominick winning by decision. I think Dominick will land more than Anthony. Anthony will pull a lot of weird shit and have just a lot of inactivity, so Dominick will win, just probably based off of output. And that's that. UD for Dominick. Next up, Nate Landwehr versus Doo Ho Choi. I'm gonna have fun with that name when I go live in a few minutes. I will be live for UFC 310. Make sure to check it out. I'll be live for the entire fucking card, early prelims to the main event. But yeah, Nate Landwehr, Doo Ho Choi. Nate Landwehr, good UFC fighter. You know, he's had a couple losses, but I like his striking. I like his ground game too. I think he's just good all around. Doo Ho Choi, decent. You know, striking leaves some room to be desired, but I think he's still a tough fighter. I think he just came off of a really good win. I think this will be a really good fight. Um, what did I have specifically for my notes for this one though? Yeah, I think it's going to be a close, not really a close fight, but I think it'll be a bit of a back and forth in which Nate Landwehr will probably overall just win by decision. Although you know he is the favorite by a good amount, and a lot of people have him winning by like TKO and shit. But I think Nate's just gonna be 2 steps ahead of Doo Ho Choi and win by decision. Next up, Bryce Mitchell, Kron Gracie. Bryce Mitchell, really really good featherweight fighter, came off of a devastating loss against Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett landed a really fucking clean, nasty, was like an overhand or a hook to the chin of Bryce Mitchell, knocked Bryce Mitchell clean out, had Bryce Mitchell fucking convulsing on the ground. Really, really violent KO. Probably one of the most violent the UFC has ever seen so far. And he's fighting Kron Gracie. Bryce Mitchell's ground game is great. Kron Gracie, a member of the Gracie family, very legendary family with jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people have Bryce Mitchell winning. Kron Gracie isn't the best striker. So I think Bryce Mitchell should look to win on the feet. But I think Bryce Mitchell will try to win on the ground, and I think that's a very bad space for him against a member of the Gracie family. So I have Kron Gracie winning this fight via submission in the final round. I know it's not the most favorite pick, but I really want to be fucking spicy with this pick. And I think it's going to go through. I think Kron Gracie can get it done in the third if Bryce Mitchell chooses to enter the ground game with Kron Gracie. So Kron Gracie via third round submission for me. Next up, Ciryl Gane, Alexander Volkov. Big fight, good fight. Ciryl Gane, master striker, got humiliated by John Jones recently, but recently did win against Sergey Spivak. Just outstruck Sergey and knocked Sergey out. Not clean out, but just TKO win. He's fighting Alexander Volkov. Alexander Volkov is having a hell of a run. Really good wins in the UFC recently. Shut down Sergey Pavlovich, which is a really big feat. Really just utilizing his length. He's a long fighter, and he could utilize his jab and longer strikes against shorter fighters like Ciryl Gane. But I think Ciryl Gane's just going to come out too quick and too skillful and too technical for Alexander Volkov, and probably just piece Volkov up for like the 3 or 5 rounds, however many rounds this fight is. I think Ciryl Gane wins it via unanimous decision. I think Alexander Volkov will survive the punching power of Gane, but Gane will win off of points and how many just off of the sheer amount of significant strikes he'll be able to garner throughout the entire fight, which I think will be a hell of a lot more than Volkov. Seeing that, I'm saying that Ciryl Gane will be much quicker than Volkov, and I said this in the previous video, but I said I think Ciryl Gane is gonna land 3 punches before Volkov even fucking figures out how to connect on one, even though it's like a jab too. But I think Gane's just simply too fucking fast. So Gane wins via unanimous decision. Next up, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Machado Gary. This is the co-main, right? Yeah, co-main event. I think this is basically should be the main event. It's a really big fight. 2 really dangerous up-and-comers, both undefeated. I think Ian is going to find a way to contain Shavkat and win via unanimous decision. I think Ian Gary will be able to keep this fight on the feet and just, stay 2 steps ahead of Shavkat on the feet. So I think Ian Gary wins it by decision and shocks the MMA world because all these MMA fans are glazing the fuck out of Shavkat and saying Shavkat's going to win. But I think Ian is sneaky, man, and he's going to find a way to win. Final fight of the night, main event, Alexandre Pantoja versus Kaya Sakura. Kaya Sakura, this is his first UFC fight. He's getting a title shot right away. He is a rising legend, though, so I do understand why, and they're trying to make flyweight interesting. But Pantoja's way too dominant for him. I think Pantoja's going to eat every fucking shot that Kaya Sakura throws, and Pantoja will just keep marching forward and then just lay on top of Asakura for 5 rounds. it's just going to be Pantoja grappling the fuck out of Asakura for every minute of this fight. Probably Asakura will have like a good first minute, but then you'll see that Pantoja is going to be able to eat everything because Pantoja's entire UFC career depends on his chin, and his chin is indeed made out of vibranium. So Pantoja wins it via ground control and via unanimous decision, just based off of the sheer amount of fucking ground control he's going to have against Kai Asakura, who will look helpless on the ground. And that's it. That's my whole prediction for the entire card. I'll see you soon in a few minutes when I go live for this shit. And yeah, see you there. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But most importantly, subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next.